Good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this August 31st version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. And don't forget, we're on Roku. Easy to find us there.
Yep.
How are you, man?
It's good. It's nice and cool outside. It was a nice walk.
Yeah, it's so weird when we get to this time of the year. And there's going to be another hot spell out there.
Oh, yeah. We're not done.
Yeah, but it's so funny. Get to this time of the year, it's like a light switch was flipped. Like, boom. Yeah. So
we still got another week or two of of some hot weather.
Yeah. So, but
I'm trying to think last year on this time of year last year, it was really hot. I remember because I went to Weiser for the first football game of the year. And there's them little midges, them little bugs all over the place over
everywhere.
there. Yeah. And I was sweating and I was just covered with those bugs just because I was taking pictures and I was, just active work and I was just covered in them bugs. Well, I hate going over there because of those bugs. Yeah. I used to hate playing baseball in Ontario too, just because of the bugs, man.
Well, it's funny because this time of the year and flies get that same way and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like the insects know. It's like, I only got a couple of weeks.
Last hurrah.
Yeah.
We better party now.
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's terrible.
Yeah. That's how it is.
It's really nice today. It's cool. It's really cool. And I walk, whenever it's nice, I try to walk to work. And I don't usually ever see anybody that early on the early morning walks. But I saw two people I knew today.
Well, here, let's just look while we're here. Let's just look and see what's out. Yeah, it's really pretty. I don't know what the temperature was.
But I think it was in the high 50s when I left this morning.
Yeah, but cool and beautiful. Let's see, we're
going to have another cool day, I'm sure.
Here's the forecast.
Yeah, 72 is the high. But look, then 78, then 81 on Saturday.
Yeah. Just
don't rain on Saturday because that's football day, and I don't want to be in the rain. Taking pictures in the rain is not a lot of fun.
So EOU has
it starts this Saturday.
Game Saturday.
Yeah, I'll talk about it during sports.
All right. Well, hey, do you want to let them do sports?
Let's do it.
All right. Let me get to. We're out of sequence here, and I messed up. Okay, here we go.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Rockin' Sons Tire and Auto, east end of Adams and LeGrand. If you need anything done for your vehicle, go see JB and the boys. LHS volleyball plays today versus Mountain View in Pendleton at 1:30. It's one of those, so they don't have to travel so far type deals. It's technically a home game for us. We didn't do that when I was in high school, and I don't know that I'm a fan of that. EOU does it sometimes too. Like that trip that I took with the wrestling team to Central Oregon last year. Yeah. That was a home wrestling match for EOU. But they had to drive 5 hours. You know what I mean? So you give up, I guess you kind of give up time and the home court / mat advantage to be nice and to maybe gain some new fans at the college level. You know what I mean? Because we actually have a handful of wrestlers from Central Oregon on the team. So it brings out all those, fans of the kids when they were in high school.
Yeah.
But going to Pendleton for a home game for us, I mean,
what's the game there?
Not a big fan of it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
LHS football tomorrow versus Weiser, 7:00, Community Stadium. It'll be live right here. Pendleton will play Caldera, and then Baker takes on Cascade, and all those are home games. And I think we're streaming all of them.
Well, for sure.
Pendleton.
For sure Pendleton, and for sure LeGrand here, and possibly Baker City. Yeah.
So you'll have for sure Pendleton versus Caldera at 7, and then for sure LeGrand versus Weiser at 7 here on EO Live.
Yeah. Now, so real quick though, the LeGrand game will be the only one that's on Roku live.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
because we can only stream one thing.
But if you go to the website, then you'll see the Roku frame, the same as Roku, and then somewhere on that page you'll see the other games also. So,
or you can watch right here on Facebook or on YouTube.
Right.
It's really easy if you just search on YouTube or Roku. EO Live.
Yeah.
You'll find it. And so both those games. And then EOU men's soccer is in Arizona, and they take on Ottawa University tonight at 7:00. They should be pretty good this year too. They're going to be better. The women's soccer team just got back from Kentucky, and they beat the number 20 team in the country while they were there. Right now they're 2-0-1. They had the CCC attacker of the week, and they're rolling right now. They're going to get back to that standard of making the national tournament. I have a couple interviews with their coach and one of their players coming out this week, so I think it'll come out tomorrow. EOU volleyball has their home opener tomorrow night at 7 versus OIT up at Quinn. It's at the same time as the football game, so I don't get to go to that one. But the next day they play number 19 Southern at Quinn at 5. And that's the one I'm excited about because that's a ranked versus number 1 versus number 19. And we're going to kind of see where we're at in regards to the CCC. We haven't played, obviously, this is the conference opener this weekend. So we'll kind of see where we're at in regards to Southern. The big test is obviously when we play Corbin. They're number 5, but that's a little bit down the road. EOU football, like I was talking about, kicks off their season on Saturday at 1:00 up at Community Stadium. They take on Montana Western, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback. He's a transfer from Central Washington. He was the GNAC Player of the Year in 2021, and the kid is legit. And I'm super excited about it because that's one of the problems we had last year was I think we started 5 different quarterbacks in 10 games, and nobody ever knew who the quarterback was going to be.
Right,
so,
yeah.
And this kid stepped up and filled that role, and he's a leader. I've talked to the coaches about him. They said the players have bought in, and that's super important when it comes to that position because it's the most important position on the field. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, it really is. So it's cool. Jam-packed a weekend of sports in LeGrand this weekend. I'm giddy about it. There's just game.
You got
game,
stuff,
game,
man.
game. Yeah. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
That's it for sports for today. But one more thing. I released these yesterday, and I worked half the morning trying to get this done. So let's play it. This is part of the sports show from yesterday. I sat down with Miley Mills, who's the NAIA Defender of the Week National, and then Hannah Ledgerwood from EOU Volleyball. Check this out. The CCC and National Defender of the Week. Say a year ago, would you ever have thought that? Like your first week on a college volleyball team, you're nationally recognized.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, not at all. And I don't even think we would have to go back a year. If you would have told me that a week ago, I'd have been like, are you serious? But yeah, like you said, I'm just super grateful. I mean, to even get some playing time. I mean, I didn't even know if I was going to get that. So super grateful for that. And yeah, big honor for sure. So super cool.
The playing time on that team's competitive.
Yeah, for sure.
You definitely have to earn it.
Yeah.
All right, last question, and then I'll get you out of here. I'm a senior in high school. I'm thinking about coming to play volleyball at EOU. Recruit me.
Our program is really good. We like to win. We go to nationals every year. We are really competitive. Everyone here is good. We all push each other. We all trust each other. We're all friends. Our school here is great. Our business program, I don't really know much about the others just because I'm in business, I know that. Our teachers, they know us well and they know that we're athletes, so they know when we need to leave, so they're very accommodating to our schedule. The community here is great. Everyone loves each other. Everyone comes and supports each other no matter what team it is. We all support each other. And khaki is really great. Khaki makes you better, not only physically, but mentally. It will help you accomplish your goals.
Awesome. The crazy thing about that is that first girl, Miley, she's a freshman, a true freshman. She's the NAIA Defender of the Week for the nation. And she just turned 18 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
3 weeks ago.
Wow.
And I'm like sitting here like her composure and just her confidence. I'm just like, when I was 18, I was a walking shit show.
Right.
And I'm like, how do people end up like this?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I was talking a little bit with her about like she's a middle, so that's the same position that Cambry Shields played, and Cambry was one of the best players ever at EOU. First team All-American, led them to their first #1 ranking ever last year. So she had big shoes to fill. And first week out, NAIA Defender of the Week. Like pretty solid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's it for sports.
Cool stuff.
Thanks to Rockin' Sons, East End of Adams and LeGrand. Go see JB and the boys.
Good. So I have a question. So what if the quarterback is the most significant play? I mean, important, I don't know, whatever, but which I agree. What's the second?
On offense?
Yeah.
The center.
Okay.
100%.
Second on. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. So the quarterback is the quarterback. I mean, he's calling the plays, all
The field
plays.
general. Yeah.
The center, though, is telling all the blocking schemes for the linemen. He knows everybody's job. It's for sure.
Yeah.
And it's quarterback, then center, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on defense, what do you think is most critical?
Linebacker. The middle linebacker is the most critical.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the NFL, not always the highest paid.
Right.
Same thing for a center in the NFL. The left tackle is the highest paid lineman because he protects a right-handed quarterback's blind side.
Uh-huh.
But the highest paid linemen in the NFL are edge rushers. The guys that rush from the outside. They're always paid more than the middle linebacker. But the middle linebacker is basically like the quarterback of the defense.
Yeah. It's kind of like interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
so like up at EOU last year, Solo Taylor played middle linebacker. He was like the quarterback on defense.
Yeah. There's a lot of similarities between the center and the middle linebacker on it. I mean, in the sense of they're almost like the mothers. I mean, they're making sure everybody's doing what they're doing, supposed to be doing.
The center, but on offense, the center really only worries about the lineman.
Yeah.
The middle linebacker knows you know what I mean? Like he's the lineman, everybody.
Yeah.
I would make it more of a comparison to the quarterback.
Okay.
The middle linebacker is the quarterback of the defense.
Yeah. Do you think the center sometimes sees things that the QB doesn't?
Oh, of course.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a different spot on the field. Just absolutely.
Yeah.
He can see a little bit better how the defensive linemen are lined up, what they're doing. The quarterback doesn't get to see what the defensive linemen are doing. He's paying attention. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like usually to the linebackers and to the
the
defensive backs because he's trying to see where the safeties are going to go.
Yeah.
So the center's paying attention to what linebackers have a tendency to blitz. You know what I mean? And a lot of times the center, 4-man front doesn't have somebody over the top of him.
Mm-hmm.
So in the run game, the center's blocking a linebacker. So he's going to the next level automatically. So it'll be on a hike. The center has nobody over him. He's got to find a linebacker to block on a running play.
Yeah. So you see, sometimes you'll see like right in the middle of the count, almost the center will
all the time.
He'll turn around and
tell the guard what
say
to do.
something.
Say something to the quarterback. Yeah, it's a tough position. And if you look in the NFL, like all the good centers are really smart too.
Yeah,
like they are. People think linemen are these big dumb dudes. Nowadays, these guys, like Joe Thomas is a perfect example. He's an all-pro for one of the worst teams. Never won a playoff game, I don't think, in his whole career. But he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Played like 10 years for the Browns, right? One of the best to ever do it. The guy's like 320 pounds when he's in the NFL. As soon as he retired, he's down to like 210 pounds. You know what I mean? In shape, smart, has a degree, has like multiple businesses. Jason Kelsey's another example. He's the center for the Eagles. Yeah. And he's just like, he's got a podcast that's super informative about what goes on in the NFL, him and his brother. And they're a lot smarter than people think.
Well, and the same thing with catchers. I mean, the sense of they really intelligent people,
most important position in baseball by far.
Right.
And there's no comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, the catcher's the quarterback of baseball.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's weird because a catcher is the only player on the baseball field that can see the entire field. Do you know that?
Yeah. I
Think about it.
everybody else is facing the other way.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's always something behind you.
Right. Yeah.
And like the pitcher can only see from the pitcher to the plate. You know what I mean? The catcher sees everything.
Yeah. It's kind of one of the things that's kind of interesting with Instagram reels or reels in general is their baseball, really cool baseball plays or outs or whatever. I mean, that's kind of made its way into that. And so you kind of get an instant, you get a kind of a cool view of a really intelligent play that
It's
somebody
crazy
did.
what they can do with cameras nowadays too. Just the shots that they get, and it's insane. And most professional sports teams have a whole team of people that just do social media. Like we're talking like a whole team, like 10, 12 people.
Right.
And they're taking, you know what I mean? Like
taking clips.
Constantly. Like what they're wearing. They'll have a whole reel of the players showing up at the ballpark and what clothes they're wearing that day. And then they'll have a reel of, you know, like the one social media girl gives all the players a certain piece of candy on game day. You know what I mean? And it's
who would have ever thought that? I mean, because you have people that are pulled in. They don't care about the sport at all, but they care what the person is wearing. You know what I mean? Or they care. So I mean, it's just it has connected people to sports in a really interesting way.
Yeah, that wouldn't normally have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They might not care about the sport whatsoever, but they care about, oh, that player is really good looking and he's wearing these shoes today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shoe people. Like the NBA is crazy when it comes. There's hundreds of pages, Instagram, TikTok, that are just dedicated to shoes of NBA players. Like what's so and so wearing today? BR kicks. Like it's crazy. It really is. And the shoe world, like especially Nikes, Jordans, Dunks, SB Dunks, Air Force Ones. It's almost like I want to liken it to like baseball cards.
Yeah,
people collect and trade and authenticate and grade
the shoes themselves or the pictures of shoes.
No, the shoes. Yeah, it's crazy.
How strange. I mean, who would have? And I guess I'm kind of reflecting on the maturity of the 18-year-old that you interviewed yesterday, and how. I mean, I just think that social media or the internet or whatever it is that this thing is that influences our life every day, it's just pushed music, acting, dance, any of the arts you have kids that, 12, when they were 12 or at the age of 10 or 12, 20 years ago, they were playing with Barbie dolls or trucks or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
And now they're honing their skill. They're working on their vocal licks or their
100%.
Or like this player that you were talking about, far more mature than they typically would have been 20 years ago.
So I think part of her thing too is both of her parents were college athletes too.
Yeah.
So
it's just baked in, right?
It is. Her mom played volleyball at Gonzaga. I'm not sure where her dad played. But her dad was a D1 college athlete, and that is like part of, you know what I mean? Like they've taught her like, hey, you know what I mean? Like here's how you carry yourself as an athlete in college.
Right. Well, and it's the same thing, when I interviewed the rodeo queen candidates, both of them had family members that were involved in horses or that were queens, real involved in horse competition when they were their age. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, what the sport is just that, you have kids that start way earlier because they just grew up with that as a part of their family.
I love music, and I wish that when I was younger, I had access to music like people do now. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If I had that kind of, you know what access I had to music when I was a kid? The radio and whatever vinyl or 8-tracks my mom had or cassette tapes.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Now you have every song in the world right here.
And every genre.
Every job, whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the thing that's crazy.
You don't even got to pay for it, BC.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in a very musical family. But it was church and gospel music, and there's not meaning to be, but the point is that was the genre that I was really exposed to, you know.
It's crazy.
And the same thing with vocal style. I mean, I was taught to sing a particular way. And now the rules of standardization in singing or whatever, I mean, it's out the door. And so you have kids that are experimenting with their voices when they're 8, 9, 10 years old. So then if they have talent and they are good, then by the time they're 14 or 15, you have these Taylor Swifts and these people popping up, you know, when they're
a lot younger than
right. Yeah.
previously.
Yeah. It's just a crazy opportunity.
Speaking of music, let's talk a little bit about this guy.
Oh man.
Okay, so check this out.
Yeah, so tell people
that's
people
all
that
Anthony.
Don't know.
He's a like overnight sensation. It's been a few weeks, but he debuted #1 on Billboard. He's the first person ever to never have anything else out
and show up
and
on
just
Billboard.
show up #1 on Billboard. He went viral for a song called "The Rich Men North of Richmond," and he's talking about Washington, D.C. I mean, it's north of Richmond, Virginia.
Got it.
He's from some small town in Virginia. He's struggled with addiction, alcoholism. He's worked like a blue-collar job. And he performed this song in his backyard with his dogs. You can watch the video online. The crazy thing is he went on Rogan, right? This guy, nobody knew this guy a month ago.
Right.
And now he's on Rogan, like
Right.
the #1 podcast in the world.
Right.
And the funny thing is the Republican National, whatever convention or whatever they're doing right now.
Yeah.
The Republicans used this song.
Oh, really?
And on Rogan, he was like, don't they know the song's about them? But the funny thing is, and it's crazy, is that people have already politicized him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats are like, or the liberals, let me say it like that, are like, he's too, but the reality of it is he doesn't care. Like, this guy is just
right. Well, and if you listen to the song and the words of the song, it kind of applies to
all of them,
right?
really,
Yeah,
all the
right,
politicians.
yeah.
But the funny thing is the Republicans were using the song, and he's like,
you're part of the problem.
yeah, it's not. I'm not. You know what I mean? I didn't make this to be politicized.
Yeah,
basically, is
right.
what he said. And he's like, this song's about you.
Yeah.
But he's pretty talented. The song is really catchy. It's very powerful.
Here's what's crazy, and again, this is all the same thing. Is you had record companies 20 years ago that controlled the flow of every piece of talent that made it to the public. 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, the only way that your song was heard is if you recorded with a record company and they had a deal with a radio station group, and that song got out on the radio station. And now this one dude
Posted a video
supersedes all of that.
Yeah.
And they have nothing to say about that.
Well, they can't, and that's why he's even talked about that. That's why he's not planning on. He doesn't want somebody else to control.
Right.
And a lot of artists are like that nowadays because they want. It's part of their voice. You know
right.
what I mean, their music is
yeah.
part of their voice, and you're 100% right. Back in the days, you had no control over what. I mean, if Britney Spears, prime example. Here's what you're recording. You know what I mean?
Right.
Go record it.
Right.
It's coming out. Nowadays, though, these artists, because of the internet, 100% because
right.
of the internet.
Right.
They don't even have to have a record deal.
Right.
They get royalties. I mean, Spotify pays royalties. You can look it up. It comes up on my Instagram all the time, exactly how much you get per stream for Spotify, for iTunes, you know what I mean? And how much. So it's and then the other way that a lot of these artists make money is views on TikTok, on
right.
Instagram, and then paid partnerships. So like, Kanye West wears a shirt that says Joe Schmo from Joe Schmo. They're paying him, you know what I mean? So It's crazy. The internet has revolutionized everything, but music, it has taken it to a whole different level. Like,
well, and it's that same. The internet not only has it changed. I mean, it's like look at news. Okay, you know, I mean, again, 20 years ago, the only way that we got information was from the 4 big broadcast networks: ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. Okay, and if you weren't in that envelope, your news didn't get out, whatever it might be. And the newspapers were the same way. It was all so now. So then you had all of these cable, CNN and Fox and others, these cable channels that kind of spurred on, and they broadened it out. And now nobody has control over it. I mean, you got Twitter, you got, you know.
nobody even watch. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even remember the last time I watched a news program.
Right. But I mean, and I don't know. I think that is kind of, I mean, that is freedom of the press active. I mean, that's
Defined.
that's what it was meant. Yeah, that's what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, everybody has a voice, you know, whether it's credible or not, they certainly have the right to have that voice.
The only thing is, though, it's kind of, to me, it's good and bad because
Absolutely.
I mean, like, it's not real. Most of the stuff on Instagram is not real.
No. Yeah.
People like look at it. They're like, "Oh, they're so happy. Look at that."
And you and I were talking.
This guy's
offline.
sitting there like, "Man, I'm 50,000 in debt. My dog died. My wife's sleeping with the mailman."
Yeah.
It's like, it's not real.
No, and
Even the filters aren't real.
no. And what's funny is that I mean, I was thumbing through reels this morning, and you find yourself watching someone just talk to the camera. They really have no skill whatsoever.
No.
I mean,
Like
except,
me.
but there's something about them. It's like, well, one is they're talking to you personally. You feel like they are. I mean, they're talking to thousands and thousands of people, but they're engaging you in some manner. No, it's just crazy where it has gone, and even since COVID. I mean, that's kind of bizarre. I'm not sure that before COVID, you would have had an artist like this recent guy put up a microphone, sing a song it's just outside, you know. I mean,
no, it was the perfect song for the way our country's conditioned right now.
Right, but that means COVID just compressed it just pushed everything online. And
but I think even if COVID doesn't happen, we're still in a similar position politically that we're in. And I think that this song went viral simply because of politics.
Absolutely.
Like I mean, if you listen to the part about the miners, you know, he says, pay attention to miners instead of miners on an island. Yeah. Like that's referring to Epstein and you know what I mean? And the welfare problem. Yeah. He said, we got people starving while obese people milk welfare. Right. I mean, that's pretty. Yeah. That's that. So, I mean, COVID might have pushed it a little, but I think it's more just because where we're at politically.
No, and those issues are the same, and they have been amplified. And the feeling,
COVID amplified,
and and I guess that's kind of in the feelings. Yeah, I think a lot of things congealed. You know,
COVID definitely didn't help anything.
No,
and now there's like these. I've seen a couple things talking about masks.
Yeah.
Why are we even talking?
I know.
Funny. EOU posted the fall schedule for softball.
Yeah.
The girl in the picture has a mask on. I'm like, I texted Nicole, you know, she's one of my friends, like, why did they use a picture from COVID for the fall schedule for this year? Yeah. Like, are you trying to draw up bad memories? Right. Like, she thought it was funny that I noticed it, but I noticed a lot of,
Well, COVID is going around right now.
I know.
Locally. Have you heard? Yeah.
No, well, I didn't know it was locally.
But. Yeah. No, but no, Yeah.
I've
it's
beat
just-
COVID twice, so I'm not real worried about it.
I think the anxiety of everyone like you is, not only are we COVID tired, but it's just, we understand. There's all of the research that has come out about the effectiveness of masking and the effectiveness of the vaccines. Now all of that is uncovered. That's out. And so it doesn't change how awful COVID was,
Right.
but we certainly know that a lot of what we spent a lot of energy doing had little or no effect whatsoever.
I feel bad for the people that had to enforce.
Oh man.
Could you imagine? Like up at EOU,
Yeah.
at games and
Yeah.
stuff. Oh, poor Willie Mack. He was the sports information director at the time. So a lot of times he had to be the law in the gym, and people were just pissed. They would. I saw one lady tear the mask up and throw it on the ground. Like it was.
No, I have a friend. Who works for OSHA, Washington State OSHA, and he's up in their organization. And he was talking to me about how horrible it was because during COVID, the state of Washington kind of deputized OSHA to be the enforcers of workplace compliance with COVID. Yeah.
I would not want to.
And so he said we had to scrub the internet of all of our employees' addresses because people were literally going to their homes, the people that were working for him. They were literally going to their homes and standing outside or threatening them in some manner, that would be an awful job.
Yeah, that would have been the worst job is the people that have to be like, well, yeah, you got to wear a mask.
Well, and the problem, but lots of people were in that position where they would have to enforce something that they didn't totally believe one way or another, but they're in the spot of like, it's my job.
And the crazy thing is because it was so politicized.
Yeah.
The people on the left were just like, they didn't have any problem with it. Like they were like, that had to enforce wear the mask.
Yeah.
But then anybody like in the middle or to the right, who didn't, like it was so politicized,
right?
Like that would have been really hard if one way or the other, either way. Like if you're on the left and people weren't wearing masks, or if you're on the right and people were, it was like that's where all the turmoil was getting, right?
Well, it's funny because as we went on this cruise, and to go on this cruise, you got to go through security, and I didn't realize this, but there's cruise. You have 5 cruise ships going out at one time or in one day, whatever it might be. So, like in Seattle, they have a huge complex for all of the cruises of receiving baggage and screening passengers. And it's like a gigantic airport thing that you have to check in through. Anyhow, point is, most of those people that were working luggage, whatever it might be,
masks.
A lot of them did not have masks, but some of them that did, you could tell they were incredibly diligent about it. And I understand. It's like, it's like,
the crazy thing is the masks don't protect you.
No.
They've proven that. The mask protects other people. Like if you were sick, and I wore a mask, and I was around you all day, I'm probably getting sick.
Yeah, right.
But if you were sick and you wore a mask and I didn't, my chances are better.
No, it's like, somebody's saying like, it's thinking that a chain link fence is going to stop a mosquito. Or,
you got the Zilla virus on a mosquito and put a chain link fence.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, and we're just talking our rear ends. I know that it's more complicated than that, but
for sure.
Yeah, but there's, and that is, I heard somebody say that they're anticipating another COVID wave at some point next year.
Right.
And so it'll be really interesting to see how people respond to that.
That Oliver Anthony guy, though, I wonder if he's just going to be kind of a one hit. He's got in just a very short amount of time, his followers on Instagram went from like a couple hundred to, I think he's like at 2 million right now.
Well, somebody
crazy.
I mean, I heard that he turned down like an $8 million
turned down a
music contract.
He's turned down a whole bunch of them, and then they asked him to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl, and they offered to pay him $100,000 to do it, and he turned the money down, but he said he'll do it.
Really?
Yep. He said he don't take money to sing that song. That song's too important to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
The
guy drives a 2007 Suburban. He's talking about it on, check this out. This is great. On Rogan, he's talking about this. He breaks down, okay? The tow truck comes to get him, right? 2007 Suburban is what he's got. Mm-hmm. The tow truck guy puts it up on the flatbed, right? Pulls it up. Well, I guess when the guy was unloading it or getting ready to unload it, the chains weren't, and he lifted the bed, and the Suburban fell. Bam! It bent the frame, both axles. So now this 2007 Suburban has a salvage title, and he said it shakes when you drive it, and that's what he drives. I mean, well, probably not.
Well, and that's part of the appeal is he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just a normal dude, you know.
Yeah, he sells like machine supplies to, that's his job. He's done a bunch of different stuff. He broke his back, had a work injury, and was using alcohol and pills to, kind of get by, and then just recorded this song, and boom.
Yeah.
That's that. I mean, you can become famous overnight. He said on the Rogan podcast, he's like, yeah, I was there and all these people wanted to take pictures with me, and it was just, he's like, I guess that's just how my life now.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you don't get to turn back from it.
Well, and his looks help him.
Yeah, heck yeah. He looks like he came out.
I mean, pull that picture back. I mean, he's
sure.
red hair. Yeah. I mean, look at him.
He looks like a blue collar.
Yeah,
of dude.
He does,
And he's got his dogs in the video. And, he's out in the middle of his
And I guess what I mean
Virginia.
is his looks are memorable.
Yeah.
So you would, if you did see him around, you'd be like, wait a minute, I've seen you somewhere. You're the dude,
Yep.
So.
Yep. And it was a whole bunch of perfectness that all came together for him. Like, the perfect song at the perfect time, the perfect look.
Yeah. Right.
The perfect, like mannerisms.
Yeah.
The perfect thoughts, what I mean? And then it just, all of a sudden you're viral and you're on the top of Billboard. You're like, I just recorded this song. I'm number one on Billboard. And could you imagine? He said he talks about on Rogan about all the messages he's got. He's like, I was trying to respond to every one of them. He's like, it's not possible anymore. He's like, I had like 50,000 messages in my Instagram.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. He's like, I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you'd have to get a new phone. I mean, you'd have to there would be things. If you went viral overnight, you'd have to start paying somebody to take care of you.
Right. Yeah.
It's automatic. I mean, you couldn't keep up with it. Not when you have a few million followers. That's crazy. And he's got more than that, I'm sure. I mean, let's look it up. Let's see what he's got real fast.
Yeah. What a crazy. It's just interesting how.
Let's see what he's got on Instagram.
This world that we're in just compounds things.
Oliver Anthony followers. He's got over 2 million on TikTok. He's got over 1 million on Instagram. He's got 450,000 on Twitter. Yeah, and just a month ago, this guy had less than 1,000 on all of those platforms.
Right.
You know how long it takes most people to get 1 million followers, VC?
No, I know. Yeah, I mean,
you guys will grind for
how many
5 years?
How many followers do you have on the EOA Doddsy Instagram?
Maybe 1,200.
Yeah, which is
I've been grinding that for a year.
Right. Yeah.
For more than a year.
Yeah. And my daughter, I think she has 5,000 on hers, and she, because she does commercial stuff.
But I also have never really tried to get followers.
Right. But the point is that even 5,000 is a lot of work. And this guy has
overnight.
A million.
Yeah, just ding. You wake up, you got 1,000 followers. You wake up, you got 700,000.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it. I wouldn't want that many people
No.
following me. No, I don't want to deal with that many people.
No.
Because I mean, even now, like just the amount of from Facebook, from EO Live Facebook, from my own Facebook, from Instagram, I get way too many notifications as it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want any more than what I get right now.
Yep.
And it provides. You know what the crazy thing is like social media provides people access to you that wouldn't normally have access to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a parent wants to bitch about like. Take this softly, please, people. A parent wants to bitch about like us not streaming a soccer game.
Okay.
Normally they wouldn't have access to me, but
Right.
because they got, they know I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
They'll send it on Instagram or Messenger. And but if we didn't have that, they wouldn't have my phone number.
Right. But yeah, talk about Ruland for a second.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that's a
Ruland
perfect
Gardner.
example
Yeah,
of access,
so I'm pretty much sure that he's going to be on the morning show at some point.
Okay.
Which
and remind people
he'll
who
have
he
to
is.
remote in. He won the Olympic gold medal in wrestling in 2000. Was it 2000?
Right around there.
It was 2000.
Yeah.
He beat the Russian.
Yeah.
And he's got ties to Eastern Oregon. To LeGrand, his sister is the cardiologist up at the hospital. 2000. He won the gold medal, and I've been trying to get him for a while, and he responded to me, and we're going to make something work, whether it be an interview. I'm hoping that he comes right here. I mean,
right.
Not live, but
right.
Yes,
virtual.
Live, but
yeah,
through the internet.
Yeah, but the point, that connection was the way that you reached him was through his social media.
Through his social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
there was a connection.
Cell phone number too.
Yeah.
The connection is Paul Anders,
who was here.
He went and met it. He met him in Utah, and then we knew. I mean, I knew that his sister was here, and then I knew that he went to college with Burl's son.
That's right. Yeah.
At Rick's. So there's tie. I mean, there's more than one tie to
right.
LeGrand. I mean, he went to college with one of the most famous people in wrestling in Oregon, Verl Miller. I mean, in the whole state. Went to college with his son, and then his sister's also the cardiologist. So he's got ties to Eastern Oregon. So it'll be cool to sit down and chat with him. And,
yeah.
See what he's doing now. Because I mean, that at the time, that was the biggest thing. It was the Russian hadn't lost ever. I mean,
they dominated that sport.
It was crazy.
More than dominated.
And Ruland Gardner at the time was 19, I think, or
Yeah.
something like that. Or maybe he was a little bit older.
Well, and that
he was 29.
And it was emphasized because that was right at the end of the Cold War. And so you have this, I mean, it's not too much different than it is right now, but you have this gigantic thing that's happening between the United States and Soviet Union.
The Russian that he beat, Carolyn, heavyweight. This is heavyweight, Greco-Roman. 13 years in international competition, had never lost.
Wow.
In 13 years. So Ruland Gardner went on to win a bronze in 2004. And then in 2010, he was inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. So he's a Hall of Famer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be cool. From Wyoming, same place as you.
Boom.
Afton, Wyoming. I don't know where that is, but
yeah, it's south of Jackson Hole. So it's a cool place to be.
That'll be fun to have him.
But what's funny is Afton is like, I mean, all of the towns in Wyoming, none of them are bigger than 100,000. Everything's small there. But I'll bet Afton is the size of LeGrand, probably smaller. So it's just funny how that is. Well, hey, do you want to get us out here?
Let's do it.
All right.
On this day, August 31st, 1422. Henry VI becomes King of England at the age of 9 months old.
Oh, man.
9 months old. And this is in the 1400s.
Wow.
Yeah. At 9 months old, you're the king. I don't think you have a lot of say at 9 months old.
No.
But you're still the king. 1937, Ralph Waldo Emerson gives his famous American Scholar speech to Pi Beta Kappa Society at Harvard in Cambridge, Massachusetts. 1980, I said 1987. 1897. Thomas Edison patents the kinetoscope, a kinetographic camera, which is a device that produces moving pictures.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, kind of cool. And then we'll jump to 1990. Baseball outfielders Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. become the first father and son to play on the same team in a game in Seattle. The pair hit back-to-back singles in the first inning, and they both scored.
Cool. What year was that?
1990.
90.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that would have been Ken Griffey Jr.'s second year in the big leagues, I think.
And I moved to Seattle in 91 and saw a lot of games with Griffey
they
in
were
it.
good.
But
They
I
were
think
good.
that Griffey Sr. was gone by then.
1994, for the first time ever, a Pentium computer beats the world chess champ, Garry Kasparov. Computer beat him.
Wow.
It's great. Now look what AI is doing. I'm scared, man.
I know.
AI is scary. It really is, man. Like some of the stuff you see people posting online, you're like,
Yeah.
1997, Diana, the Princess of Wales, dies in a car crash in a road tunnel in Paris.
97.
Being chased by the paparazzi. I
Wow.
remember that.
Yeah.
That was crazy. And then Elton John, made the song. That was
Yeah.
crazy. 2009, the Walt Disney Company acquired Marvel Entertainment from Stan Lee for $4.24 billion.
So Marvel bought it from Stanley. Who'd you say?
Stan Lee owned Marvel.
Okay.
Stan Lee is the creator of Marvel.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Disney bought it from Stan Lee.
Okay. Thank you.
Marvel
Yeah.
for
Okay.
$4.24 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, Stan Lee's the legend.
Right.
I mean, he's created all the.
Yeah. In comics, right? I mean, in
And-
comic books, isn't that kind of?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
exactly what it was. But all of the Marvel characters
Yeah.
that have ever been created by Stan Lee
Yeah.
were pieces of his life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he could relate a piece or a part of himself to every
To that
character.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
crazy. What a legend he is. 2022, the U.S. life expectancy falls to its lowest level, 76.1 years. In just 3 years, our life expectancy went down 3 years. In 2019, it was 79 years.
Huh.
And COVID being the main contributing factor to that.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 years it dropped from 79 to 76.1.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is.
That's really crazy. 3 years in 3 years.
Right.
Number one movie in America on this day in 1983, Mr. Mom with Michael Keaton. And then the quote for the day, short and sweet. You either control your mind or it controls you. One more time. You either control your mind or it controls you. Oh, there's a comment up here. Let's see who's here. Alex, I'm not worried about art. Yeah, I'm worried about AI. You better study up a little bit more about AI. It's there's some weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, dude. I'm more of a realist.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff you see is like kind of.
I think the thing that was the most alarming for me was the AI, and it seems like I heard this interview, but that AI can lie. So in other words, I mean, some of that is being formulated, and it's given permission to lie in order to So if it's not bound to the truth, then
no.
that can be
BC, I think one of the things that people forget is all the stuff that we don't know about.
Yeah.
We don't know it. We don't know a lot of stuff that's
Yeah.
going on. I mean, they could clone you right now. 100% proven. They could clone you right now. Just take your DNA and make another one.
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah.
It's not ethical, so they don't.
Right.
But they can.
Right.
There's stuff that that's the part that gets me is like, dude, what do we not know? Like,
What do we not know that's happening?
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that.
Well, and what also is kind of strange is the AI has all of a sudden. I mean, 6 months ago, AI wasn't being talked about, and then all of a sudden, ChatGPT. That's kind of what. And so then that kind of broke the wall, and it's like, and then everybody else started talking about, oh yeah, we've been doing this research for the last 4 years.
We all knew it was coming.
No,
We all knew it
but
was
it's
coming.
like, yeah, it's just it's not that it's not brand new. I mean, people have been working on this. I mean,
Probably
organizations for a long time.
long
Yeah.
time.
It's just they have the permission, or this like, yeah, the information wall has been broken, and now we can all be open about what it is we've been doing.
Like I said, I'm not a conspiracy dude, but more of a realist.
Yeah.
When I was in college down in California, I worked the knock shift. So I did the books for a hotel, right?
Mhm.
Like I did the overnight audit
Yeah.
at the hotel. And almost all the guys that stayed there, like probably a quarter of the rooms, were Lockheed Martin guys.
Okay.
It's out in the middle of the high desert, like this hotel.
Right.
I lived in a place called Silver Lakes. It's in between Victorville and Barstow, right in the middle of the desert.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you go out in the desert, you're either running into a military facility or somebody cooking meth, literally.
Yeah.
Well, these Lockheed Martin guys, I'd always get up and make them coffee because they'd leave at weird hours. You know what I mean? So like I would get out coffee at 2:00 in the morning or whenever they were leaving for that particular week, and they'd leave at weird hours to go to work because they worked at a secret facility out in the middle of the desert somewhere. They couldn't even tell me where they were going.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I used to badger these guys with questions. Like that's part of the reason why I'd no coffee. You know,
Right?
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could just because I was interested. You know what I mean? I want to know what the hell you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
Why you leave at all these weird hours? You know what I mean? And I became friends with a few of them because I worked there for 2 years, and it's all pretty much the same guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one quote that sticks out to me is the guy looked at me and goes, I can't talk about what we're doing, but I'll just tell you this. You would be flabbergasted. That was his exact words. And he was dead serious.
Right. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And this was how long ago?
this was
20 years ago?
25 years. Yeah. You would be flabbergasted. And I mean, they talked about some stuff. I mean, they talked about a couple of them were on the stealth bomber, you know, working between Lockheed and whoever the other company.
Boeing.
Yeah, Boeing. But he just said you would be flabbergasted at some of the stuff we're working on.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I mean, I'm a realist. I know
We know
they're
you have an
doing some
idea.
weird
There's a
stuff.
lot we don't know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But AI can't correctly synthesize up-to-date information. That's too advanced. Those are too big of words for me, Alex. Yeah. I don't know. AI is scary. I mean, there is a scary part of it.
Yeah. All righty.
We'll see the first time AI takes over somebody's network at a.
Well, Tanya and I were talking. I mean, there's so many scams. I mean, and people are using, and this is not necessarily this AI. This is just technology. But I mean, there's a scam going on where they will take. So you'll get a call, and it'll be from your daughter saying, "Hey, I'm in trouble, and they need $1 million, or they need 10,000. They need $10,000." And they literally have taken samples of your daughter's voice, and synthesized it into a sentence, so you are convinced that that's really happening. You know. So now what they're recommending is between that your family needs some kind of a code word. So then you can ask, so then you can say code word, and they can, then of course
have you done that in your group chat?
I did with Tanya. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, just yesterday. Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. I mean, or you say, you ask, but I mean, they would do that, the whole code word thing, they did that in Vietnam, whatever. I mean, if you needed
spies to get rid of spies.
Right. But even if and I have done that before. Well, I'll get a message from somebody and it'd be like out of the blue, and I'll say, well, then you should remember who our high school friend is.
Yeah. I'll get you know what's crazy with the spammers is all the time I'll get like a message from somebody on Instagram, and I'll like look, I'm like wait a second, and then I'll type in their name, and it's a dual account.
Right, that happens all
the time.
Yeah,
right? And so I always send a message to the person like, "Hey, did you know? Is this you? You know what I mean?"
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, "No."
Yeah.
My friends' kids Instagram account got completely taken over,
Really?
and there's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Like it's completely taken over, sending like Bitcoin like ads to everybody, and he's like, just block it. Like, don't worry about
You know, but everybody gets ton of spam calls, you know, in one way or another. And I have a thing on my phone that will say suspected spam call. When I
mine
get it.
does the same.
Yeah.
I'm on the same
I
plan as you.
got one. I got one yesterday that
Potential spam is what it says.
I got one yesterday that was a restricted call. So the
no
number,
caller ID,
the number,
no
yeah,
nothing.
you know, and so I picked it up, and of all the things, I mean, I think I have one friend that has their number blocked that will call me routinely, occasionally, but I never get restricted calls, you know, and so I answer the phone just because I was amused by it, like. In the first question, like, how come you're clearly it was a guy reading a script. That was the first thing.
You can always
Good afternoon. We are calling you because, and it was a voice just about like that, you know, we're calling you because there is a package that is going to be delivered, you know. So I hung up.
Hopefully it has a lot of money and
I hung up. Yeah. He called right back. He called right back. We got disconnected. Do you know why? Like, I hung up on you. You're not, you know, and I said, what number are you calling from? He's like, I'm calling in regards to. No, what number are you, you know, like,
Yeah,
okay, anyhow, it's just
a waste of
like,
time.
yeah, if you're going to do a scam, you probably should memorize the script.
Hey, some people do get nailed by scammers though, man, especially like older people. Like,
Well, yeah, as I'm hanging up the phone, he says, you mean you don't want, you know, and the rest of that sentence was, you don't want to receive a free package that maybe is going to worth, you know.
one of the ones that I heard about was like people were calling elderly people and saying that their grandson or granddaughter was in jail and they needed money to bail them out.
Yeah.
And there was like this one older couple that lost like a couple $100,000.
No.
Bailing out there, because I mean you start touching family member soft spots, and you know, of course grandma's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of my grandkid, like I'm gonna get him out of jail, he's in Colombia in prison, you know what I mean, or in jail, in some dangerous jail. I'm gonna get him out.
I've had family members that were like, I mean, one of the oldest scams in the book is they'll say, hey, I'm going to send you a check for $10,000 and all, you know, and for you doing it through the bank, then I'm going to give you $2,000. Okay. And, you know, so, and they literally will take the check, they'll put it in their account, they'll give that person the $2,000 and then the bank will yank all of that money back and go, hey, we need the $2,000.
Yeah, it was a bad.
Now banks have caught on, and they'll like, if something comes, I mean, you know, if you have somebody who never deposits $10,000,
yeah, they'll hold it,
they'll look at it and go like, this is suspicious. Something's weird about this. So,
thankfully, for people's sake,
but
some people are just about dumb enough to do that. I mean, like the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah,
I have a $14,000 money order. I need you to return me 2,000 of it. You can keep the rest.
I tell you what's funny. Something I've been doing with email. Just because you get all of these phishing scams. You know, your account's being closed, or this is being, you know, whatever.
It's gotten really bad on Facebook too.
Yeah,
really bad.
Right. So what I'll do is I will respond and say, please send me your full name, social security number, and birth date, and I'll get back to you.
Facebook's gotten really bad though. Like people,
we get
people like impersonating like Meta like standards,
right?
You know what I mean? Like saying that you have videos.
No, and we've gotten that. You know, I mean,
numerous.
We'll get a thing
Oregon
on our
East West Shrine page got one.
Like you've broken the standards, and your
account is in trouble.
It's going to be turned down. It's going to be shut down. Click on this link.
Can I just send you some money now?
Oh man,
what do you want from me? All right,
we rattled on. Thank you all for watching. We'll be sure. The games. Don't forget the games that are going to be streamed on EO Live for sure. The Pendleton High School game and the local LeGrand High School game, and then EOU has their first football game Saturday at 1. Go.
And then for the LeGrand game, you get me too.
Yep.
You get me talking
Yep.
and hanging out and checking the comments. And
Yep.
yeah. So
Good stuff.
see you on Tuesday.
All right.